Good morning and welcome to KXAN News Today. A man convicted of murdering a protester back in 2020 is expected in court today. Daniel Perry has a pretrial hearing for a deadly conduct charge. It's related to that 2020 shooting. After his initial murder conviction, Governor Greg Abbott pardoned him. I want to update you that we incorrectly stated last hour that today's hearing was related to that.
The Texas Electoral College is meeting today. It'll cast votes for the incoming president and vice president of the U.S. It comes after Texas voters chose Donald Trump and J.D. Vance. There are 40 electoral votes from the state. Those votes will then head to Congress to confirm the presidency.
The Texas A&M Forest Service opens a new emergency operations center today in College Station. The new center increases its capacity of the agency and strengthens its collaboration with partners during emergencies. After a flurry of elections, your body of local leaders in Austin is now officially set. Good morning, I'm Erica Brennis.
And I'm Tom Miller. This took a while to get here, but there will be 3 new city council members in Austin who'll be making these decisions for the upcoming year. They will join 7 returning members. And KXAN's Grace Reeder takes a look at the decisions city council made this year that impact people in Austin the most.
Austin City Council is done with regular council meetings this year after this one last week. Next time this body votes on major policy that impacts you, there will be 3 new voices on this dais.
It's what our local governments do that have the most impact in our lives.
That's St. Ed's political science professor Brian Smith. And if you don't agree with his assessment of how important our local government is, just take a walk with us through some of the most significant decisions Austin City Council has made on your behalf in 2024. We'll start back in May, where after 14 hours of public debate, City Council signed off on a change to our land development code called Home Part 2. It dropped minimum lot size requirements. In other words, you now need less land to build a house in Austin.
I should be able to sell that tiny home at a price that I haven't been able to sell anything at for many, many, many years.
Around the same time, Austin City Council picked its next permanent city manager, T.C. Broadnax. He serves as the functional CEO of our city and makes roughly $470,000 a year doing it.
I think he is going to prove to be very worthy of that salary moving forward.
And just a few months ago, Austin City Council signed off on a labor agreement between the city and its police union. It was a contentious, roughly year-and-a-half decision in the making. Mayor Kirk Watson said the vote was our city, quote, turning the corner on public safety.
A timely police response is crucial. However, due to APD vacancy rates, delayed response times have escalated.
Among a long list of other things, Austin City Council also approved the hiring of a new police chief, signed off on a record $5.9 billion budget, and voted to keep a temporary homeless shelter at the marshalling yard open until at least next year. Grace Reeder, KXAN News.
Austin City Council's next regular council meeting is January 30th, and that is when we will see the new members, Krista Lane, Mark Dushin, and Mike Siegel.
Going in depth, other cities like Dallas have attendance rules for their council members, and they track attendance for constituents. But the city of Austin does not do that. So KXAN City Hall reporter Grace Reeder and digital data reporter Christopher Adams teamed up this year to create this attendance tracker for Austin City Council. The project began after our investigation found that District 1's city council member was missing more meetings than all of her colleagues combined.
First warning weather with meteorologist Rich Siegel.
It is 5:32 here on a Tuesday morning where the radar is showing a little bit of light rain, teeny showers moving across some of Blanco, Gillespie, and Delano counties. That's where we're seeing most of the green shade this morning. And I think that's where most of these light rain showers will be as we go through the rest of the morning. We still have fog east of I-35, very dense fog across parts of Lee, Bastrop, Fayette counties. Visibility at Giddings, a half a mile, 3/4 mile visibility at the Fayette Regional Air Center at LaGrange, and 1.25 miles at Flatonia. That fog will creep a little bit further towards the west over the next couple of hours. Temperatures in the mid-50s, San Saba, Lampasas counties, 60s for most of the rest of the area. Currently in Austin, 65 degrees. That is 1 degree above the normal high, and for now 22 degrees above the normal low for the day. Dew points in the 40s and 50s across San Saba, Llano, and Mason counties, 60s everywhere else. So it's a little drier, so to speak, today versus yesterday. A light rain this morning, dry this afternoon, then increasing rain chances started around 6 o'clock tomorrow morning. Still ahead. We'll talk about one more warm day. When the next front arrives, we'll time that out for you and what it does to our temperatures in just a few minutes. Erica?
Thank you so much, Rich. Let's get a quick check of your traffic. I'm still monitoring this crash on southbound 35. It's right by MLK. So you're looking at this live from our TechStock camera right there. So I'm able to monitor, let you know when things will reopen or if these lanes stay blocked. So here's what's going on. This is as you exit off of that upper and lower deck split on southbound 35 through downtown. So downtown's on the right side, right? This is right near MLK. The two left lanes are blocked. So heads up about that. You'll need to use those far right lanes to get by. That is the only incident that I'm tracking right now that's causing delays, so just a heads up about that. It's not quite impacting the drive coming in from Brown Rock, so that's good news because that's really sandwiched right there through downtown, and you still have two lanes open, so it's still relatively early. Not seeing heavy delays, but I'll let you know when that starts to shift.
Yeah, you know that it's only a matter of time before that could start causing some big problems.
It's going to be a problem.
All right, let's get to your news. And today, police in Madison, Wisconsin are expected to speak on a deadly school shooting there.
Police say 3 people died yesterday, including the shooter, the victims, a teacher, and a student at Abundant Life Christian School. 6 others are hurt, and 2 of those people may not make it.
We know the suspect is a 15-year-old girl, a student at this school, and she died on the way to the hospital from what police believe was a self-inflicted gunshot wound. Police confirming they are investigating a home in connection to that shooting. However, we don't know how it's all tied together. Police saying the suspected shooter's parents are cooperating with investigators.
A former FBI informant will be sentenced next month for providing false information to federal authorities. Alexander Smirnov pleaded guilty to lying about Joe Biden and his son Hunter months before the 2020 election. Authorities say that he funneled false information to his FBI handler, falsely claiming to the U.S. government that those government officials that Hunter Biden's Ukrainian employer paid the father and son $5 million each when Biden was vice president. Prosecution and the defense attorneys recommend the court assign 4 to 6 years in prison and 1 year of supervised release at his sentencing next month. President-elect Donald Trump's pick for Secretary of Health and Human Services, Robert F. Kennedy Jr., is expected to meet with over 24 GOP senators on Capitol Hill this week.
At its first news conference since winning the election, Trump defended Kennedy. He also reaffirmed his support for the controversial figure. And NBC's Bree Jackson looks at what is ahead for this week's visit.
President-elect Donald Trump's pick to be Health and Human Services Secretary, Robert F. Kennedy Jr., working to convince senators he should do the job. Trump defending his selection during his first news conference since winning the election.
I think he's going to be much less radical than you would think. I think he's got a very open mind, or I wouldn't have put him there.
Kennedy has faced criticism for pushing discredited theories that childhood vaccines are linked to autism. And a recent New York Times report states Kennedy's longtime advisor once petitioned the Food and Drug Administration to revoke approval of the polio vaccine. But Kennedy told reporters he's for the polio shot. Despite some concerns about his views on certain vaccinations, others say they believe Kennedy would not discourage people from vaccinating their children if confirmed.
I think he's going to question science, and I'm glad he's going to question it.
Meetings have been going well. Trump's choice for Director of National Intelligence, Tulsi Gabbard, also making her case on Capitol Hill.
I look forward to meeting with as many senators as possible.
The former Democratic Congresswoman's views on Russia and Syria have raised concerns for some lawmakers. Trump allies are standing by his picks. In Washington, Bree Jackson, NBC News.
And here in Central Texas, Austin leaders are remembering a fallen San Marcos police officer today. City will host an honorary renaming for part of a road in northwest Austin. It's the intersection of Lake Creek Parkway and Mellow Meadows Drive will now be known as Officer Justin Putnam Drive. Putnam graduated from Westwood High School in that area back in 2007. He died in 2020 while responding to a domestic violence call.
A new route that will make your commute a lot quicker opens this Friday. Williamson County and the city of Georgetown are celebrating the completion of the Sam Houston Avenue corridor. Here's a look at that location on your screen. Sam Houston Avenue connects to Patriot Way, which will now get you all the way to State Highway 29 once you pass under the SH-130 bridge. It ends traffic woes for many commuters. A commissioner tells us that her county is one that delivers its promises to the community.
We adhere to what the voters want, and we produce.
the projects.
This is only part of the more than $30 million project. All construction is expected to be complete in 2 years.
All right, it's 5:38, and you know, during the holidays, a lot of families are starting to meet elves. They're coming down to the house, they're hanging out.
Some new people that move in for a couple weeks.
Some new people move in, just to keep an eye out on things.
These elves on the shelves can get themselves into some tricky situations, and Lago Vista police are poking fun with this video, saying that this elf took his adventure to new heights and landed on the roof. And they say they caught him red-handed.
Okay.
Okay.
You're doing Elf on the Shelf,
We
right?
have two. Yeah, Chippy
The
and
elves
Pearl.
have
And
Chippy
for the
and
most
Pearl.
part, they behave themselves. They don't get into too much mischief.
Did those names come with them, or did you give them
I
those
do
names?
think that those, like, she got to choose them, but I think that they're like in one of the books. I think those are maybe official names.
Okay.
I don't know.
Okay.
How many?
Two. We have two.
Chippy and Pearl.
Chippy and Pearl.
Oh, I didn't know. Okay, Chippy and Pearl.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
That's their names.
That's their
And
names.
Baker named them?
And she named them, and they move around the house every night. She caught them the other night in the middle of their moving. And she noticed it right away. And I was like, oh my gosh, I think they were in the middle of moving. We better go back upstairs, let them finish their thing.
Were they lying face down on the counter?
No, they were, Chippy was on a scooter trying to get into her gingerbread house that she had made.
Very fun.
Yeah, so going after her candy.
Okay. Oh, well,
So they're a
that's
little
not-
mischievous, but not as bad as I've seen.
That's
some
not
do.
allowed. All right, let's check a few graphics for you here at 5:40. We'll start with today's wildfire danger. Really, again, for parts of Travis and Hayes counties, the threat is low, and for the rest of the area, it is a moderate threat today, and then it's more of a moderate threat for tomorrow. Today, our solar forecast, it starts out with clouds this morning, but then we see clearing through especially the afternoon to a partly cloudy sky. Hey, we may even go mostly sunny briefly during the late afternoon. Still, it's a 4-battery day today. Tomorrow, a little more sunshine in the afternoon. And then Thursday and Friday will be completely clear across the area. And we'll start seeing a few clouds Saturday and a bit more cloud cover on Sunday. So that's today's solar forecast. Perhaps the most important graphic that I can show you is this one, where the Horns will take on Clemson 3 o'clock Saturday afternoon over at DKR Texas Memorial Stadium. Kickoff temperature will be in the low to mid 60s under a mostly sunny sky and a southeast wind, but the humidity should be just fine. And then by halftime, we're pretty similar in our temperature and our sky condition. So that's the forecast for the Horns and Clemson.
Good morning. School bus headed. Oh, and there it goes.
Where did it go?
There it goes. A little glitch
funny.
caused it to disappear. This is a live look out in Lockhart here at 5:44. This is the time that those first buses start to fire up, head out to the neighborhoods, and the
Scoop those kiddos.
Scoop those kiddos up. Happy to have you here with us on KXAN News today. You know, as more and more people are choosing Central Texas as their new home, auto thefts starting to grow with that.
Yeah, it's a trend that Austin, San Antonio, and cities along I-35 have been reporting spikes in that crime, auto theft, in recent years. And this includes San Marcos. And the city of San Marcos and San Marcos police say that thieves stole 233 vehicles from January to December 3rd of this year. In order to curb that theft, the city council approved receiving grant funding to establish an auto crimes unit and purchasing 10 more license plate readers.
What we found was a grant that would provide us the salary for a year for a police officer and the motor vehicle theft division, and also some cameras.
Of the vehicles stolen this year, the San Marcos Police Department said that it was able to recover 62% of them.
So looking in Austin, not at the stolen cars, but the things stolen from the cars. According to some data from Austin police, thieves stole almost 40,000 items from cars between October 2022 and July of this year. Of those, police recovered just a fraction, about 300 items. The most common target, car parts, electronics, IDs, and sports equipment. APD says these cases are often difficult to track leads on because they have not a lot of evidence.
Your allergies may be bothering you a little sooner than expected this year, and that's unfortunately because cedar season got a head start. It usually lasts from December to February, but this year pollen counts increased in late November. The ash juniper tree is responsible for your battle against allergy symptoms. But a local health expert says there is a secret weapon to give you immediate relief.
Even if the allergy season kind of caught you off guard and you have those symptoms, really antihistamines will work really quickly, probably within the first day.
He also says there are several over-the-counter and prescription options that people can try, but it depends on the patient and their symptoms. Antihistamines are good for runny noses and sneezing, while steroid-based nasal sprays can alleviate sinus pressure and congestion, but they typically take a week or two to be fully effective. Once it gets you.
Yeah, I'm just going to throw this out there. If those options have not worked for you, and there are some people who try all that stuff and it doesn't work great, I've done allergy shots for years, and it is a long game here, but it is truly like changed my life.
It's when they put a little bit of that pollen in you.
Yes, and once a week for years.
Yeah. Now, my question for you is, do you do it all year round, or do you do it during the...
It's year round.
Very good for you. You, my friend, get the A for the day. Better than the elf on the shelf.
I'm the nasally one, and he's feeling A-okay.
It's ridiculous how some people will take their shots, but they wait until the season, and then they stop doing it, and then all of a sudden they're miserable again. It's like, it's an easy thing to do.
Yeah, I mean...
Maybe I need to look into it.
I'll talk more with you about that later on.
Talk off camera about that.
We'll have some coffee, have a chocolate bar, and we'll talk
with a side of nose spray with some steroids. Steroid nasal spray.
All right. Good morning. We go back to Lockhart, I believe. No, we're actually going to do our visibility first. We are seeing that fog creep into Caldwell County. You have visibility under 7 miles at Lockhart and at Luling, but the worst of the fog is still off to the east of that area. 1/3 of a mile visibility at Giddings and under a mile at Flatonia and LaGrange. There, the live look from the Kreitz Market weather camera in Lockhart, we can see that the fog and the low clouds are prevalent right now. Not much traffic there on 183. Today's record is 82. It was first set in 1924, tied in 1990. Today's forecast is 81. We may be chasing that again today, just like I did yesterday. Temperatures by noon today are going to be mostly in the mid-70s. I think some of these upper 70s may be a bit too warm for that hour, but I'm rather good on these upper 70s to low 80s as we get into the 3 to 4 o'clock time frame. And then highs tomorrow. We may know 70 early on, but I think on the whole we'll be in the mid-60s to average as we get into Wednesday afternoon. And notice the wind barbs coming out of the north. We'll have a strong northwest to north wind after the front passes where you live. This morning there's a weak frontal boundary draped across some of the area that's partially responsible for that little bit of rain that we've been seeing in parts of our hill country communities in Gillespie as well as in Blanco and Llano counties. So this rain will continue light through the morning, and then by the afternoon we see fewer clouds and more of the sun, so that will allow for those temperatures to scoot on up into some low 80s today. We'll be partly cloudy this evening, and then here comes the front in Lampasas and San Saba counties by 7 o'clock Wednesday morning. It's around the Rockdale to Austin to Blanco area by about 10 o'clock on Wednesday, and then that front sags further to the south and east over Caldwell, Bastrop, and Fayette counties by noon, and then by 1 o'clock it's out. Notice the clouds clear. We'll have some gusty winds too once the front does pass. How much rain, you ask? And there will not be much of it at all. I doubt that we'll see 6/10 at Cameron, but most of these totals will just hold under 1/10 of an inch in most areas. And the humidity that we are feeling today, which actually is not as bad as it was at this time yesterday, that humid air, if you want to call it that, will be done. We get back into that comfy range with dew points below 50 degrees, not only for Wednesday afternoon, but as we get into the end of the weekend on into the weekend as well. And then we've got a secondary front coming by Saturday or Friday into Saturday morning. This is just going to give us a reinforcing shot of north wind and keep our mornings cold, and the afternoons will be seasonably mild, but we'll still call it cool. Not today. 81, mostly cloudy, 10% chance of rain this morning, clearing this afternoon. Again, the record high for today is 82. 7-day has us at 67 tomorrow. That chance of rain in the morning, breezy and chilly in the afternoon, and then we're in the low to mid 60s. Winter, it arrives at 3:21 on Saturday morning, and then the football game will be nice as well. We've already talked about that. We'll talk about it again later on. But right now we want to talk about traffic. Here's Erica.
Thank you so much, Rich. Okay, 5:51. I'm still monitoring that crash on southbound 35 at MLK, but really quickly, this is a new crash I want to let you know about. This is on northbound 35 right near Wells Branch. This is our TxDOT camera at Owida. So that right lane is blocked. Again, northbound 35. So for those of you leaving Austin going towards Round Rock, this is going to impact you right before you get to SH 45. Again, northbound 35 near Grand Avenue, Wells Branch Parkway. That's where you're going to see that crash in the construction zone. So be careful. Okay, now closer to downtown. Southbound 35 is where we have that crash near MLK. Those two left lanes have been blocked, so do watch out for those delays as you come off that upper and lower deck split. The upper deck going to be the better bet, and then just stay on the right side for right now. So heads up about that crash through downtown Austin. The drive times starting to very slowly shift, not a significant change quite yet. Half an hour coming in from Kyle and about 20-25 minutes coming in from Round Rock. I'll have another traffic check in just a few minutes. Welcome back. Your time is now 5:55 on this Tuesday morning. There's now some hope for Texas families seeking closure after losing a loved one to homicide. A bill in Congress could put more money into solving cold cases. The bipartisan bill is called the Carla Walker Act. It's named after a Fort Worth murder victim whose case was solved 46 years after her death. Texas Senator John Cornyn and a Democratic Vermont senator are pushing that bill. Advanced forensic analysis identified a suspect in Walker's case. The lawmakers want to see the technology implemented across the country. Adding some depth, here in Austin, there were 170 cold cases as of 2022. While modern investigators have that technology to solve cases at a faster rate compared to years in the past, it can be a slow process. One exception came in 1983 when the unit closed 11 cold cases.